Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, you're welcome to Sew with Mediva. And if you're a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, thank you for sticking to my channel. So in today's video, I'll be showing you guys how to cut and sew this trending Ankara baggy pants with elastic waistband and rope. And I achieved this style using 3 yards of African print fabric. And this pants also has 2 pockets on the sides. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. So to make this pants, you're going to need up to 2.5 to 3 yards of African print fabric, and you're also going to need your elastic band. You can make use of a bigger elastic if you want. So we're starting with the front part of this pants, and I have my fabric in a fold of 2. So this pant is a free sized pant and it has an elastic and rope on the waistline, so any size can actually wear it using this measurement. So I have my fabric in a fold of 2, and to get the widest of fabric to fold, I divided my hip measurement by 4, which is 11 inches, and I added 7 extra inches to it to make a fold of 18. So when I open up this fabric, I have about 36 inches. But if you want your pants wider than mine or bigger than mine, you can divide your hip measurement by 2. So if I was to divide my hip measurement by 2, my fabric would be 22 inches on fold, since my hip measurement is 44 inches. But here I have 18 inches, which is very okay for my size, and even size is higher. So the first thing I'm going to do is to mark out a straight line at the upper part of my fabric, which is going to serve as the waistline. So my pants is going to have a waistband of 2 inches. I'm going to place my tape rule 2 inches above the starting line to mark all the measurements. If you're working with a bigger elastic band, let's say 2 inches wide elastic, you're going to make your band around 3.5 to 4 inches. So for mine, since my band is just 1 inch, I'm going to place my tape rule 2 inches above the starting line and then mark the full length of my pants, which is 44 inches, and I'll add 2 extra inches to it for my folding allowance to make 46 inches. So the only measurement you'll be needing for this pants, since it's a free size pants, is the crotch depth. So to calculate the crotch depth, divide your hip measurement by 4. So mine is 11 inches. So for a normal pants, I normally just add 1.5 inches to that 11 inches to make 12.5. But because this pants is free and you don't want the crotch area tight, I'm going to add extra 1 inch to that 1.5. So notice that my tape rule is still 2 inches above my starting line to mark this crotch depth. So I marked 13.5 as the crotch depth, and then I extended the line this way. So after that, the next thing is to mark the front crotch extension. So I'll come over to the open angle of my fabric and come in by 3 inches. So to get my crotch extension, I normally divide my hip measurement by 4, which is 11 inches, and then divide by 4 again to get about 2.8, but I'll approximate it to 3 inches and just mark it there. So come in by the crotch extension and then just extend the line all the way up. So from that point, I'll go ahead to form a curve to create my crotch curve this way. So to give the waistline a bit of shape, I'm going to come in from the side by 1.5 inches. Note that this is optional. You can decide to just leave it straight. And then I'll connect from the crotch line all the way to the waistline this way. So for the tie area all the way down, you can decide to just reduce it by 1 inch. But since it's a baggy pant, you can decide to leave it this way. The next thing is to cut it out. So I'll open up the sides all the way down. So we're going to be using the front panel now to cut out the back. So to cut out the back, I place the front panel on another fabric that is in a fold of 2, and this fabric is way bigger than what we used for the front. So place it on it this way, and towards the upper part, I have 1 inch extra for the back. So if I was working on a normal pant with zipper, I would do 2 inches, but since this one is an elastic band pant, I did 1 inch. And towards the crotch extension area, you're also going to have some extra fabric there. So we're going to be extending the back crotch by 3 inches, the same thing we used in front. So on that crotch line, directly on that crotch line, I'm going to extend it by 3 inches. And then just go ahead to connect it to meet the front crotch. So note that the front and the back crotch has to be directly on the same line. So on the front panel, I'll locate my hip line. I'll still place my tape rule 2 inches above the starting line and mark my hip line, which is 10.5, and on that point I'll come in by 2 inches. So from this crotch extension I marked, I'm going to form a curve all the way to meet that 2 inches this way. So you can see that my front crotch and my back crotch are on the same line, and I connected it all the way to the waistline this way. So on this inner seam area, I'm going to do 2 inches all the way down. So this is to join the front and the back panel on this inner part. And then for the side, you can see that I have no allowance there since I already added a lot of allowance to my front panel. So I'll slant the back waistline all the way to the side this way and then proceed to cut it out. So I'll cut out the sides and then cut out the waistline. So I'll set the front panel aside while I rip the side of the back opened. So after opening up, this is what we have. The next thing I want to do now is to start joining the fabrics together. So for the front panel, before I join it together, I'm going to cut out my pocket. So I place the two pieces of the front panel right sides facing each other, as you can see. So I'll come over to the side and come in by 3.5 inches. You can do 4 inches, it's still fine. And for the length of the pocket opening, I'm going to come down by 7 inches and then connect the 2 points together. After connecting, I will cut out that part. So we'll come back to the pocket later. Let's close up the crotch area. So I'm going to close up the crotch of the two fabrics using 1/2 inch this way, following that line. After that, I'll come over to the back and also close up the crotch area completely. So I'll stitch it all the way down. So after doing all of that, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So I've closed up the front crotch and this is what we have. So on the wrong side, you can go ahead to open up the seam and just iron it out so that it lays down flat and appears neat in front. And for the back panel as well, you can repeat the same process. This is what we have. So for the pocket, I've gone ahead to cut out my fabrics and I have 4 pieces of it. So you can decide to cut yours bigger if you want your pocket very deep. So I'm just working with the amount of fabric that I have. So I have 4 pieces of it and the wideness is 8 inches while the depth is about 11 inches. You can make your depth up to 12 or 13 inches if you want it very deep. So I'll set 2 pieces aside now. I'll work with 2. I placed the 2 fabrics right sides facing each other and then I folded my front panel into 2 and then placed that cutout part on the fabric. So cut out the fabric following that same shape. After that, I'll open it up and then I'll place this cutout fabric now on my pants, making sure the right sides are facing each other this way. And then I'll go ahead to stitch it all the way down using 1/2 inch. I'll stitch it following the same shape and I'll do the same thing for the other side. So when I'm done doing all of that, I'll show you guys the next thing to do. After stitching, I'm going to then notch this seam area opened. So just go ahead to make small cuts on the seam this way. After notching, I'll then flip this fabric to the wrong side of my pants this way and then go ahead to iron it out so that it lays down flat. I'll go ahead to iron it out. So iron it very well and bring out the seam so that it relaxes very well to the wrong side. So after that, I'll then get the remaining 2 pieces of fabrics to cover up these ones to create my pocket. So I'm going to place them right sides facing each other this way. So just follow what I'm doing. I'll place the other one on it as well. And then I'll use my pins now to hold it down. So on the waistline, I'll just go ahead to pin it to the waist and then I'll lift it up and pin the remaining 2 fabrics together and then pin it to the side as well. So I'll also pin the other side this way. I'll pin it to the waistline first. I'll pin the 2 fabrics together just as you can see in the video and also pin this side. So right now, I'll go to my sewing machine and then I will stitch my pockets down on the waistline and then close up the side of the pocket, close up the base of the pocket and also stitch the side. I'll repeat the same process for this one. I'll join the waist areas together this way. I'll close up the side of the pockets, which is the two fabrics, and then close up the base. So when you're done with that, your pocket is going to look like this in front. So I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm done. So after stitching the pockets, this is what we have. You can see what it looks like now. The next thing we want to do is to shape the waistline of our pant. So I folded the front panel into two this way, and then starting from the point where I cut out, I'm going to replace that 3.5 inches that we took out. So mark the 3.5 inches and then just connect it all the way to the side of your pants this way, just the way it was before, and then cut it out. So we've restored our pants back to the way it was before. So when you open it up, it should look like this. So the next thing we want to do is to join the front and the back panels together. So I'm going to place the back panel on it this way, and then I'll start with the crotch. So merge the front and the back crotch together this way, and then use your pins to hold it down. So I'll take it to the sewing machine. Starting from the midpoint, I'm going to close up this crotch area using 1 inch all the way down. Starting from that midpoint, I'll go ahead to close it up all the way down. When I'm done, I'll come over to the other side, merge the fabrics together, and then stitch it all the way down. After closing up the crotch, I'll move to the sides of my pants. I'll merge it together on the waistline this way, and then close it up all the way down to the full length. So for the side of my pants, I closed it up using 2 inches allowance. This is because I didn't want the pants to appear too big on my body, so I just used 2 inches and cut off the excess seam allowance when I was done. So you can decide to use 1 inch seam allowance depending on what you want. So when I'm done with that, I will show you guys. So guys, after closing up the sides and closing up the crotch, this is what we have. I also went ahead to finish up the base of my pants. The next thing we want to work on is the waistband. So from the center front, I'm going to measure what I have all around the waistline of my pants, back to the center front again. So for mine, I have 49 inches. I have 49 inches here. So I'm going to use that measurement now to cut out the waistband. So for the waistband, I have it cut out already. So when you open it up, you're going to have a fabric that is 5 inches wide. So I ironed in half an inch on both sides. I'm left with 4 inches. So when I fold it into two, I have the 2 inches band that I want. And for the length of the band, I have 50 inches. So to insert this band, we're going to start on the wrong side of our pants. And I'll start from the center front. So I'll fold my band into 2 equal parts to get the midpoint. And just mark out that point using my chalk. So I'll place my band on the wrong side of my pants this way, and then open up that half an inch I folded in, then use my pin to hold it to the center front this way. Open up the folded seam and then pin it to the center front this way. So I'll take it to my sewing machine and then stitch it all the way around it on the wrong side of my pants. So I'll open up the seam I folded and stitch it all the way to the center back. When I'm done with that, I'll come over to the other side and also stitch the band all the way around it till I get to the center back. So when I'm done, I'll show you guys. So when you get to the center back, your band should overlap on each other this way. So that is the reason why I cut out 50 inches length instead of 49 inches. So I'll place the two bands right sides facing each other this way and then stitch it down. So make sure to add 1 extra inch to the length of your band when cutting. So when I'm done with that, I'll fold my band to the right side of my pants this way and then proceed to stitch it all the way around it. So at this center back, I'll leave a gap of about 2 inches so that I can pass my elastic band through that point. So fold it this way and stitch it all around it. When I'm done doing all of that, I'll show you guys. So before I go ahead to stitch down the band to the right side, remember we're also going to have a rope on this pant. So I just want to create the rope channel, the points where the rope is going to pass through. So from the center front, I'm going to take 1 inch towards this side and take 1 inch towards the other side. So I'll go ahead to create like a buttonhole, making sure it is directly on the midpoint of my band. I'll create a buttonhole on that point. I'll open it up. So that point is going to be where our rope is going to pass through. I hope you guys understand. So the length of the hole I'm going to make is going to be about 0.75 inches, just enough to take a rope of half an inch. So I'll stitch down my band after doing that and show you guys. So guys, I've stitched down the band and this is what it looks like. So this is the gap I left at the back to pass in my elastic, and I've also created the entry passage for my rope. So guys, for the length of your band, you're going to use your waist measurement minus 2 inches. So my waist measurement is 33 inches, minus 2 inches is 31. So I'm going to cut my elastic band at 31 inches, and then I'll get my safety pin and just pass it in on one edge of the band this way. So that 2 inches gap I left at the back of my pant, I'm going to pass in my pin and the elastic band through that point. So just keep passing it in this way till you come back to that same point. I'll pass the waistband in all the way around it this way till it comes out from that same point. So after bringing out the elastic from the same hole, this is what we have. So I'm going to pin them together this way and just go ahead to adjust the elastic band so that it becomes equal. After adjusting, I'll take it to my sewing machine and just stitch down the elastic. You can stitch it up to 2 or 3 times so that it becomes very firm, and then I'll release it back into the elastic casing and stitch the casing closed. So after doing all of that, you can see how beautiful the waistline of our pants looks already. The next thing we want to do now is to create a channel for our rope. So remember, we've already gone ahead to create an entry point for the rope. So what I'm going to do is that from the upper part of that cut, I'm going to stitch down on the waistline. So while you are doing this, you have to be pulling your elastic band. So I'll stitch it all the way around till I get to the other side of the. When I'm done stitching down the first line all around, I'll come to the lower part of the opening of the cut and just stitch it all around as well. So by doing this, you're going to create a channel for your rope, and while doing this, you have to be pulling your elastic band so that it comes out neat when you are done. So this is me on the sewing machine. This is what I was trying to explain. So you have to be pulling the elastic band. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing. So I pull the elastic band before I stitch, and when I'm done, you see that it will still gather itself together. So this is the first line I'm stitching all around. This is going to help you create a channel where your rope is going to pass through. So I'll stitch it till I get to the other opening. So this is me creating the second channel, as you can see. So after doing all of that, this is what it looks like. So I'm gonna head to create a channel where my rope is going to pass through, and you can see how neat the waistline still looks. So I'll go ahead to cut out the rope I'll be using for my pants. So just go ahead to fold up a fabric to make half an inch, and then you can make it as long as 100 inches or whatever you want. So for mine, I just folded my fabric to create this half an inch rope, and the length of the rope is about 80 inches. So we're going to pass this rope now into that casing we just created. I'll be using the same pin I used with for my elastic band. So I'll pass in the pin through one edge of my rope. So this is why I said the casing has to be about 0.75 or even 1 inch, so that your rope can easily pass through the casing without any stress. So this is me just passing in my rope through my casing, and make sure to stretch out the fabric as you are passing the rope through it. So passing the rope this way till you get to the other side of the opening, which is still on the center front. I hope you guys understand. So I've passed the rope through the casing all the way back to the center front, and this is what it looks like. So just go ahead to adjust the rope so that the two becomes equal on both sides. You can see now I have my rope equal. So when you wear your pants, you're just going to tie your rope in front so that it fits perfectly on your waistline. So guys, this is basically all on how to make a jumbo pants with elastic band and rope. I hope you found this video useful, and I hope you learned something new. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, share this video to your loved ones, and also send your recreations to me on my Instagram, Sew with Mediva. I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye.